Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of the traders. This is your host Vaibhav. I hope you are having a blessed day in today's session. If we look at the price action of the various instruments, today is a day in which most of the instruments have traded in a very narrow range, not much of an action in the market. Now let's consider one of the interesting indicator and how we can use the concept of this indicator to our advantage. We will look at its basic concept, how it is devised to help us in figuring out the opportunities to trade, its utility, and also some of the customization options available on the platform. So let us now get started with this indicator. You can find it through a quick search. All you have to do is type in its name and it will appear for you. Volume profile. Here it is. All right. Now let me look at its options to consider the calculation period. Okay, this is the default setup. The basic concept of this indicator is fairly simple. It simply looks at the volume which has happened over the given time, and also it plots that volume over that period of time in terms of the price on which that volume appeared. So now if we take the cluster of these four candles here, if you look at this grouping, you will observe that the some of the bars plotted, I will enlarge this for the simplicity. Okay, now let's look at the cluster. So here it is. In this, you can see that on certain prices, the volume is a lot higher compared to other prices. And this is the cumulative volume for these 4 hours, as we have each candle period drawn on the hourly time frame. And now this is the price range in that 4 hours. We have on the lower side the price at around 1.049, on the higher side the price is at 1.05533. So if we now consider the price trajectory and the volume plotting, here we get the idea that at around the prices of 1.5, upward of 1.5, and in between 1.5 to 1.052, actually the volume has been a lot higher, and as the price went on to increase further, the volume dropped. So you can make an assessment that there was significant market participation around the price range of 1.050 to 1.052, and as the price went on to increase further, the participation dropped, and in initial price zone there is this increased selling pressure. As you can see that bid volume was appearing to be larger compared to the ask volume. So that is this plotting is suggesting here. Then if we go in the next 4 hourly cluster, and only we have 3 candles for this cluster as of now, here there is a significant amount of bid volume, and we have these large red bars clustered around the price zone of 1.051, and that is where this price is struggling. So you can make the assessment that this is the price range around which there is significant interest of the market participants. So you can then utilize this data to figure out the zones of resistance and support in which you feel that there is going to be significant interest. If you have larger bid volume on certain price zone, then you can make the primary assessment that that is the price area of the resistance. And if you have significant amount of ask volume around a certain price zone, then you can make a preliminary case or preliminary assessment that that is the price zone around which there is support on the buying side. So looking at that data along with other price action based indicator, you can make a trading system which is likely to have higher probability, as you will be looking at the price action as well as the forces driving that price action. So that makes your trading assessment more likely to be on point at point, and as a result of that you will be in a position to reap benefit, pardon me, benefits out of that. Now, if we look at this clustering of hourly candle, four taken at a time, you will see that this kind of assessment is there. And if you feel like you can increase it, you can go for a larger cluster as well. We can increase the row size. Let me double it. 48. The width can also be increased to say 60. I'm simply doubling all these parameters. Okay, in this case the 100 is max permissible value area volume. Now let's see what we are getting. We still have the volume for 4 candles at a time, and that's how this cluster is plotted. And at this point in time it seems that we can't really increase this cluster. We can't really take more candles in the same cluster, so we will have to work with these individual clusters and figure out what are the price levels on which we are seeing significant selling pressure or significant buying pressure, and then we will have to conjoin these two different sets and look at the price horizon in a manner in which we have most of the data points together. Now, looking at its editing options further, let's see what we can do. As we have understood the concept is fairly simple. Row types, number of rows, points per row. Let's try out what we can do with this. And here we have got points per row. I am going to decrease this row size to 24. Width, we will go back to the earlier level of 30. The placement is on the left hand side. Volume can be up and down or total. You can go for a total volume, but up and down volume gives us a better understanding of whether we were looking at more ask or more bid volume. So it is better to work with this up and down. Volume A, value area, volume. I'm again going to restore the default setting. You can go for right side or left hand side plotting, but it is the same. There is not much of a difference. It is simply for plotting on the vertical axis, y-axis. Okay, now we have tried to customize this indicator further. Coming to its customization, this is an interesting looking graph now, and here if you have worked with other volume indicators, you would have noticed that most of the volume indicators or even other indicators, oscillators or similar types of indicators are mostly plotted on the x-axis only, on the lower side at the bottom of this chart, and then we have the output value for the given candle period. But this indicator is a bit different in that context. It takes into consideration the price instead of each candle, and then it plots the volume in context of that price move. Now that here is a ongoing cluster of 4 candles, only third candle is in play, and in next hour we will have fourth candle. So depending on that and depending on the kind of volume we get, we will have this graph shifting its course, and on whichever price we will have higher volume, the bars of these will starts to cluster around that price point. Now for last 2 hours we had a significant selling interest in which the price dropped from 1.052 to around 1.049, and as a result of that there is a lot more selling pressure evident in this plotting. But as now the charting seems to be changing and we have significant buying pressure in the current hour. As we go ahead, we will have some price point we will see these ask bars are also getting bigger and bigger, so that is going to happen. And this is a dynamic indicator, it will keep shifting its output value depending on the current context and the depth of the market participants, so you have to keep that in mind. Okay, now let us see what more can be done with this indicator. Oh. And as we are almost done with the customization options, there is not much we can change in this context. Let's look at the customization which is possible with the output value. We can go for different color combinations for our plotting of the background, histogram, value area, POC. So all these options are there, and we can go for different color combinations. If you are not happy with the red color, you can go for different color combination. So you have these options provided to us. I think for me it is looking quite good enough. Transparency can be increased or decreased so that it becomes easier for you to make the assessment, while at the same time ensuring that the chart doesn't really look too much cluttered. There should be readability into the chart, and that's why these default settings have lower transparency for certain parameters of the output. Coming to the advanced option, if you want the recalculation on new candle only, in that case we will have the plotting of the indicator fixed for the current candle. There won't be any changes, but if we opt out of that option, then we will have changes depending on what we are seeing in the oh, let me go back to the editing. Okay, so if we opt out of this, then the output value of the indicator is going to keep varying throughout the current calculation period. Highlight the time period zone. I don't really think there is any particular use of it, since this is a indicator which the default cluster of 4 candles, so that is going to be quite evident. Calculate from custom data. You can customize it further. Instrument. Almost all of the indicator instruments available on the chart are going to work fine with this indicator. You can use it while trading with the forex instruments, or for that matter commodities, indices, stocks. Almost all of the instruments available on the JForex platform are compatible with this indicator, or you can say this indicator is compatible with almost all of the instruments, and you can use this to take the market depth into account and plan your trades accordingly. Candle period can be same as from the chart, or you can vary it. You can go for different candle period. You can opt for even 5 minutes, even though the chart's default candle period is of hourly, or you can go for a larger candle period even though the chart's candle period is hourly. So you can go for this kind of setting also, and see what is the price area which is having larger volume, and then you can plot your trading strategy accordingly depending on the resistance and support you are seeing at certain price points. So here, now that we have the plotting of the indicator based on the 4 hourly candle period, even though the chart is of the hourly candle period, we have these 16-hour clusters in place. So this is one interesting customization tool, customization option available to you, and I would suggest that you try it out and see how best you can take advantage of this kind of customization to figure out the opportunities. Now I'm going to restore it back to use from the chart. Spread as per bid, there won't be much difference, only slight difference, but the trajectory is going to be similar. If you want the indicator to be available on all the candle periods, it will appear so, as you have to specify on which candle period it should be available. Now that I have opted only for hourly chart, if I change it to say 30 minutes, we won't be having any plotting of this indicator. And if I again revert back to the hourly, we will have the indicator in place. So that's simply because I have opted for this indicator to be available only on the hourly time frame. Base period can be day, 4 hour, weekly, or monthly. You get these options to customize this indicator. So depending on that, depending on your base period, you will have the plotting of this indicator. Now that I have made it monthly, I think we are seeing large amount of price points being taken into consideration for the plotting. Let's look at it. Okay, so there is one parameter which is going to have a significant impact. So you have to determine what should be the base period, and depending on that, you will have this indicator guiding you through your course of trading. Now that the base period is weekly, whole week's volume data will be taken into consideration, and accordingly you will get to know that for current week on which price point we saw larger interest by market forces, market participants, and on at which price points there was not much of an significant interest. So then, keeping all those things in mind, you can plot the course of action and divide these trend in such a manner that you will be in position to define the support and resistance zones and figure out the opportunities to trade with. So that's my take looking at the current price formation of the Euro USD while working with this indicator. So guys, that's all from my side for today's session. If any of you have any query or any idea to share, you can write back to me in the feedback section and I would be more than happy to take the discussion forward. For further coverage of the market developments, do check out the Dukascopy Analytics page. We are also available on the Facebook. You can reach out to us there too for trying out these newly released trading platforms. The link has been included in the bio. So give it a try and let me know how it works out for you. That's all from my side. I'll be back tomorrow with a new indicator, new formation. So do come back tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.